don't think about. They're all excited about going into places like Oklahoma and Alabama where we've really struggled. But they don't understand that places like New York and Massachusetts, which are reliably, and California, which are reliably Democratic, also have to be taken care of, because if they're not, then the party gets stale and things don't get done. And this is the election. This election right now is the one where the 50-state strategy is going to pay off. Now, I know that Massachusetts is going to vote to re-elect Barack Obama President of the United States. I know that.
Yes.
But that is not enough. You've got to run it up the score big time. And the reason you do is because we need Elizabeth Warren in the Senate. That is not enough if Barack Obama wins by 10 points. That is not, you are not doing your job if that's what happens. That is a plain fact. We need him to win by 20 points in Massachusetts because we are in a close race. And I don't want anybody for a moment to think that this is a race about two reasonable and moderate people. Because Scott Brown does the bidding of the people who own this hotel, the Koch brothers. Scott Brown does the bidding. Scott Brown does the bidding of all those big corporations. Yeah, how do you like that? I hope you get the cheap price on breakfast. It'll ask the Mark Romney if it's in the business. Put this stuff up. Don't buy Georgia Pacific and don't buy Omni Hotels. There's a big long list of stuff. You know, you can find that out. It's a great thing about the internet. Even if they don't want to disclose, somebody's going to do it whether they like it or not. Speaking of disclosing, you know how Scott Brown voted on the bill to require large corporations to disclose their money? He voted no, and Elizabeth Warren supports that. You know how Scott Brown voted on equal work for equal pay for women? He voted no. You know how Scott Brown voted on the amendment to ensure that women could have birth control covered by insurance? He voted no. This guy is not a moderate. What made you think? What were you thinking of back then? What were you thinking of? You voted for a guy who votes right down the line with Mitch McConnell on the most important issues. We have got to get right-wing crackpots and even the smiling nice ones who pose for GQ magazine. Against Barack Obama's jobs bill 3 times. You know, when Mitch McConnell became minority leader of the United States Senate, and he's going to stay minority leader if you elect Elizabeth, he said, my only job here is to make sure that President Obama doesn't get another term. I think that's un-American. I think it's un-American. Everybody ought to hope the president succeeds. Lordy, we hope that Bush wasn't going to go into Iraq, but he did anyway. Lordy, we hoped that he wasn't going to run up all that debt, but he did anyway. But we were hoping he was going to do the right thing. We need to stand up for what's right. I remember when I was running for president, I gave a speech out in California at the California Convention, which was probably a little over the top. That was before we had lists of places that we were going. I see my good friend, his treasurer, Steve Grossman, over here. He's got to make sure he gets elected and re-elected in 2014. And our wonderful new author over here from the Berkshires, right? How about that? We, of course, in Vermont consider the Berkshires to be really part of southern Vermont. But we understand that. Think about what's happened in this country. Think about what's happened in this country. It used to be that the kind of ideas that were talked about and the kind of propaganda that we saw last week, which was just not true, was the province of right-wing, far-out people who nobody paid any attention to. Now they're running the Congress of the United States. These ideas aren't American ideas. These ideas are from some crazy think tank who wants to take over this country. They don't even value democracy. Imagine thinking you're going to win the election by disenfranchising 780,000 people in the state of Pennsylvania. There's nothing right about what these guys are doing, including my phone ringing. Probably one of them right now. But America, as we know it, is at stake here. This is the starkest contrast that we've had between what's right and what's wrong. It is wrong to take people's rights to vote away just because you want to win. We haven't seen that since Jim Crow in the South. It is wrong to have the largest corporations give money to politicians as much as they want and then not even have to say who they are. This country, Barack was right the other day when he said you didn't build it. They didn't build it. Those big bankers up there making $50 million a year while 50 million people are losing their homes, they didn't build this country. Those people, those Koch brothers who got all that money inherited from their father, all got all that property and given away hundreds of millions of dollars to right-wing crackpots who want to change the country, they didn't build this country. You built this country. The labor unions built this country. The middle-class people built this country. The people who work so hard to maybe give their children a chance to go to college, that's who built this country. And you know what? This country doesn't belong to those fat cats that are financing the Republican Party that Mitt Romney wants to give all those tax breaks to. This country belongs to us. And this is the time that you're going to elect Elizabeth Warren, and you're going to re-elect your congressional delegation, and you're going to elect Barack Obama and Joe Biden, and we're going to take this country back. We built this country, and we're not going to let it get taken away from us. We built this country, and in 2008, we took it back. And in 2012, we're going to make sure that not only do we take it back, we're going to have real leadership in the United States Senate. Because you've got the person here who's going to go walk right in and be a leader on her first day, because she'll stand up for consumers where nobody else will. She's the kind of Democrat that I like to represent from the Democratic wing of the Democratic Party, who believes in what she says, and she means what she says. And I don't want a United States Senator who's going to get along and go along. I want one who's going to keep their campaign promises. I don't want a Scott Brown in there who's going to kowtow to the right-wing leadership because he plays one game in Washington and a different game in Massachusetts. We want somebody who's going to represent all the people in the state of Massachusetts. You know, there's some pretty conservative Republicans in the United States Senate. But some of them really do kind of represent their state. Scott Brown doesn't represent his state. He represents Mitch McConnell. Elizabeth Warren will represent Massachusetts. And thank God you're going to represent